Hello, it's Ardoyne boxing historian Eamon McAuley here. The subject tonight, best fights I ever seen. These are my personal best fights. Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales, the first one. The third one wasn't too bad either, but the first one, I mean, you're going to hear me saying this over and over and over. Non-stop action, fluctuating one way and the other. I mean, all of these fights could fit into that mode. And I'm not going to name them 1 to 10. They're, just my 10 best. What a fight. The first fight, I thought Barrera should have got it, but to give it to Morales. The second fight, I thought Morales won it and to give it to Barrera. And the third fight was too close to call. Just non-stop action and two very, very talented, skillful operators. It wasn't just a slugfest. There was a method to their madness. Very, very, very enjoyable fight. I can still, all these years later, what year was that about 2000, 2001? I can still remember where I was. I can still remember how I was feeling. I can remember the crowd going crazy. And there you go. Eamon McAuley against Evander Holyfield, first fight. I'm a big Braxton Cowie fan. And Holyfield, maybe 10, 11, 12 pro fights. He took the fight, which was very, very brave of him. Cowie was a monster. And Holyfield got it. Non-stop action once again. A record number of punches thrown for a cruiserweight fight. And I think they got the right winner. Cowie thought he won it, but I think Holyfield threw the more punches. And he ended up having an overnight stay in the hospital, Holyfield, with exhaustion. And if you asked him now what was his hardest fight, he'll tell you Eamon McAuley. So there you are. Matt Franklin against Marvin Johnson. They fought twice. The two of the fights were absolute epic fights. And first one 1979. Franklin, who later changed his name to Matthew Saad Muhammad, he won in the 12th round. Up until that point, there was no knockdowns, but they had been hurt many, many times. Matthew Saad Muhammad was well known. Every fight he had seemed to be an absolute war. And sadly, it took its toll on him. He died in his 50s, I think, from pugilistic dementia. They should have retired him in 1982, but he ended up retiring in 1982. But these two fights with Marvin Johnson were just absolutely incredible fights. Absolutely amazing fights. You just have to take my word for it. Go and check it out on YouTube. Both of them. The first one ended in the 12th round. The second one ended in the 8th round. But up until then, you couldn't have picked the winner. Salvador Sanchez and Azuma Nelson is one of my favourite fights. Big fan of Salvador Sanchez. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after this fight, Sanchez died in a car crash. 23, I think he was. One of the greatest top 3 featherweights of all time. He was being lined up for a big money fight with Alexis Arguello. Sanchez had an incredible engine. Nelson came into this fight an unknown. Commonwealth Games gold medalist, went to the Olympics, went over to America to base himself there. Came in as a late substitute, took the fight at his very short notice, but had been training for another fight, and he pushed Sanchez all the way. But Sanchez had one of the best engines, like Michael Ayers, that you ever seen. He never seemed to tire. And at the end of a grueling, murderous 15-round fight, listen to him give the interview. He doesn't even sound tired. Doesn't even sound out of breath. Just casual, calm, cool, collected, coherent. But that fight, split decision. Well, if it had went the distance, Sanchez stopped Nelson in the 15th and final round. I think he had him down in the 9th also. But if it had went the distance, it was going to be a split vote. Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor, November 1982. I was mad into boxing then. Buying Ring magazines, Boxing Illustrated, KO, the Boxing News, the Boxing Monthly. I couldn't get enough of boxing then. And this fight here was a mouth-watering fight, because I had been telling people about Aaron Pryor. Nobody'd heard of him, and I was telling people in Belfast, even before I left to go to Manchester in 1982, I was telling everybody about Pryor. But Arguello pushed him all the way. And then there was the controversy there at the end of the 13th round. Well, the water bottle, no, the special one, the one I made up, that caused a lot of controversy, because Pryor came out in the next round rejuvenated like it was the first round and stopped Arguello. But Arguello, a three-weight world champion, he was going for his third title in different weights against Pryor, but a legendary champion, Alexis Arguello, and sadly both of them deceased now. But what a scrap that was. I had a rematch. It was nearly as good. It went 10 rounds, and there was no controversy this time. Here's one here. This would have to be my favourite. Rafael Bazooka Lemon against Bobby Chacon, the fourth fight between, murderous to keep matching them 4 times. Thank God it wasn't a fifth. This one here is my favourite. The 3 previous fights had been a win for Lemon, a draw, and a win for Chacon. Chacon was down in the 3rd, and he fell behind on the cards, but then he dominated the middle rounds. And then Lemon dropped Chacon in the 10th. And in the 13th, they both landed at the same time. Both were hurt, and both were staggering about the ring. Lemon almost defenceless at the end of the round, but it was Chacon who walked to the wrong corner. Chacon scored a knockdown with 15 seconds left in the fight, a 15-round fight, to win a decision. The WBC Super Featherweight title. Thank God they didn't match him up again. And this was an incredible fight. If you haven't previously seen this fight, go on YouTube and watch that fight. Rafael Bazooka Lemon against Bobby Chacon. 4. Michael Ayers and Wayne Rigby. The first one. The second one wasn't bad either, but the first one was brutal. All these fights were brutal, and this fight was brutal. Topsy-turvy, to and froing, and Ayers was nearly knocked out in the 8th round. Only LeBell went, it saved him from a knockout. But in the 10th round, Michael Ayers had a great engine, great fitness. The fight was stopped in the 10th round through mutual consent. One looked at the other one, and they sort of both nodded, and they looked at the referee, and it was almost like a submission by Rigby, but Rigby certainly was no quitter. And the second fight went the distance, and it was fought at a ferocious pace also. 2 warriors. These are all warriors, no quitters. Once again, a similar local fight closer to home. Jamie Muir and Matthew Macklin, 2006. Muir wins in the 10th round after an absolute war. An absolute war. Here's another favourite of mine. This would be in the top 3. Diego Corrales against Castillo. You couldn't pick a winner right up until the final punch. It toed and froed, fought at a ferocious pace, but the quality of the punches, the quality of the fight, these weren't 2 crude sluggers. These were quality professional operators, and fantastic fight. Most people I know, it's their favourite fight. And there you go. Go on YouTube to watch all these fights. These are classic fights. And sadly, Corrales died a couple of years after that. Motorcycle crash. I think he was going 130 miles an hour in Las Vegas. My 10th favourite fight, in no particular order, but the 10th fight on the list is Ali Frazier 3, the Thriller in Manila. No doubt all boxing fans have all watched that fight. And that was once again, both fighters showed incredible courage, incredible stamina, incredible will to win. Frazier gave it his all, but Ali just outlasted him. And people forget how tough Muhammad Ali was, how brave Muhammad Ali was. Honourable mentions here is Hegler Hearns, Duran Barkley, Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns, the first one. Both of them very close to their prime. Sugar Ray Leonard against Roberto Duran, 1980, the first one. So there you go, folks. I hope you have a lovely Saturday night and a beautiful weekend. Go on YouTube and watch all these fights. They're all classics. God bless.